Welcome back to the Budding Author Podcast with me, Simon Ward. Welcome. Today, we're going to be talking to Melisa Quigley, award-winning debut novel, The Complexities of Love. How about that? Welcome to the show, Melisa. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How is Australia today?
Australia's very warm. It's not like autumn. It's like spring. It's 21 degrees.
It's freezing here. It's about 10 degrees.
Ooh.
And it's raining, which is very England, isn't it? Right then. The complexities of love. We want to talk about that, but how long have you been writing for now, Melisa?
Since 2015.
2015. Okay. What sort of things were you doing before? What got you into writing?
I worked in a legal firm for over 21 years, and they had voluntary redundancies, and I decided to leave, and I went to university and did a writing degree and thought I'd reinvent myself and be a writer.
That's it. That's a good avenue, isn't it? I think quite often people have the vision of sort of they want to be a writer and they've got lots of stories in their head.
Yeah.
But like sort of life gets in the way, and then sort of in sort of the later part of life, we sort of have an opportunity to sort of do what we want to do, as it were.
True.
And that's sort of where we're both at, really. So the writing degree you did, what was the sort of the big sort of takeaways from that? What did you learn most from that?
To write what you know, and to keep going and not fear what you're writing, and to really delve in deep, with fiction I'm talking about, like from your life experiences and things like that.
Yeah. So writing what you know, I think I've heard that before, and that's sort of that's quite key. It's quite strange for me. My career was sort of in process improvement, but
what's that?
Sort of process improvement for manufacturing. So I'll go into manufacturing companies and help improve their process. And when I told people there I'd written a book, they said, "Oh, is it about process improvement?" It's like, no. But my knowledge of sci-fi, I gained that from investments, investing in sort of technology companies and subscribing to magazines that sort of talked about new technologies on the way, and that sort of gave me little snippets of ideas, and that sort of brings it. So for you, the complexities of love.
Yes.
You've is that from experience then, most of this?
No, I've got it here actually. I'll show you if everyone hasn't seen it before. That's The Complexities of Love. Yeah. And my cousin is gay, and growing up in the 70s, he used to tell me what his experiences were like and that. And I asked him if I could write a novel, and he said yes, he'd be happy for me too. So it's loosely based on him and what happened to him, but like his mum didn't die and stuff like that. So I've just added fiction into different parts of it, basically. Yeah.
Sort of exploded from there. I
think
the way sort of gay people were sort of perceived back in the 70s and 80s is very different now. I think it's almost it's sort of switched around, because it was sort of, they were castigated a little bit in society, weren't the gay people previously, but it's not the case now.
No, but a lot of countries still don't accept gays, and there are a lot of bigots in private, and some countries don't let gay people marry. And like in the 70s, you wouldn't even say that you were gay. Like they used to go to the park to meet and wait until no one else was around and things like that. Otherwise, it was frowned upon, and you could be beaten up and things like that. So a lot of them got beaten up a lot, punched the living daylights out of them. So that's what happened. It was terrible.
I remember that sort of like the 80s as well was very much so.
Yes, true. Yeah.
But so the world has changed a lot now. How's your book been received so far?
Pretty good. I won the New York City 2023 Big Book Award in LGBT, so that was pretty exciting. And they invited me overseas to America actually, and sent me accommodation and stuff, and I couldn't go because the dollar's so low compared to their dollar, and it was just too expensive to go over there. So, but it was very nice of them to invite me. So,
they didn't offer a expenses paid trip then.
No, it would have been good.
That would have been. I thought, blooming heck, that would be fairly special. That would.
Yeah.
But it's good. Promoting books is always a challenge, isn't it?
It is. It's very hard. Hence, that's why I've got this lovely top on. I've been buying tops for my Let's Write a 6-Word Story or a poem to advertise that book, which is here.
That's the latest one, isn't it? That's the
that's the latest one.
Workbook for people to get them into writing.
Yeah, it's got all prompts in it and enough space for writing. And I had a bum fight with excuse my expression, with Kindle, because they didn't want it to go on a Kindle. They only wanted it in paperback. But then I sent them all these links to all these books that were actually workbooks, and they were on Kindle. And I said, well, if all these books that you've got for sale are on Kindle, why can't mine be? And finally they relented, but it took months and months and months before they'd let me. So I'm really grateful that it's on Kindle now, so it's more affordable for people.
What do you find as the mix that you've had sales wise between sort of paperback, Kindle, and maybe Kindle Unlimited? Well,
because this is my first self-published novel, the Let's Write a 6-Word Story or a Poem workbook, I've had 821 sales, and 25 have been paperback, and the rest have been in Kindle and Kindle Unlimited.
Got you. Okay.
So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many were Kindle and how many were Kindle Unlimited, but there were only 25 paperbacks. The sad thing is, Kindle in Australia, they don't have a coloured copier. And when they sent me a copy, I had to order it from the UK actually. And I looked like I'd been to Holi, in the Holi festival in India, because the copier went bung and I was multicoloured in the back of the book when I saw my picture. So, because I did acknowledgements with a picture of myself and I was techno. So I complained to them and they said, well, there's no colour copiers in Australia, and it's in the UK, and their copier went bung because they did a full investigation. So, and I said, well, I hope that doesn't happen to people that pay an exorbitant amount for it. So, because it's very expensive.
Exactly. The Complexities of Love, was that not self-published then?
No, that was traditionally published by 5310 Publishing. Okay. And that was my debut novel. Yeah, they published that. And I've also got another novel which is written in poetry as well, called Bereft. That whole novel.
I think I saw that.
In narrative poetry, narrative prose. Yeah.
I see on Twitter you've got a very big following on Twitter. 109,000. That's, how does somebody get to such a high amount of followers on Twitter?
Well, I think when I was in uni, to tell you the truth, we had a social media class, and they said you have to do something that's interesting to spark curiosity and to have something different every day. And I thought, well, what could I do? And I love poetry, so I thought I'll do a Let's Write a 6-Word Story or a poem. So I get people to, I do a picture and then a prompt. And I thought, well, that's a good way to get people to come to my site and to see what I do. And I think because of that reason, that's why I've got so many people that follow me, because I've got different content all the time. Like every single day I post a different picture and I do a poem, and people can do a 6-word story or a poem, and on a Wednesday I change it, and then on a Thursday I change my book from one book to the next, like I go from one to the other. So I think because it's not like the same thing pinned, and, you know, like I change the picture and I put, like, say, bereft or The Complexities of Love, I look on Pixabay and I do, and for Let's Write a 6-Word Story or a Poem, and I stick the book onto a Pixabay because it's royalty-free image, and then just do a little spiel about the book. So you're constantly showing something different about your books. If you just do the Amazon link, it's boring. You've got to do something that thinks, oh, what's that book about? You know, what drives the protagonist, or a hook or something to get them to be interested.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that. I've just done some book trailers. Sort of
things like that.
Gives sort of opens it, and I read an excerpt and that sort of thing, and that sort of does help with engagement. How much time would you say you spend on Twitter? Is that sort of mad?
Oh, my husband says I spend all day on Twitter, but I work as well, so I don't. I work part-time Monday and Friday, and I spend I go on there at certain times during the day. Like I'll go on at, say, 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and if I'm home, I might go on at 2 o'clock as well. So, and then just before I go to bed. But I'll only spend a little bit of time.
Do you use any software to sort of schedule posts or anything like that, or is it just done manually?
No, I was told about scheduling posts and that, but the publisher tried that and it didn't work at one stage. So I thought I like to be in control, so I'd rather just do it when I feel like it. I know on a Wednesday I do a Good Morning Wednesday post, or a Wednesday motivational post. On Thursday I change from one book to the next and rotate them and stuff like that. And on a Friday I do a Friday blast, like Happy Friday. But apart from that, no.
Do you think a lot of your sales are coming through your Twitter exposure, or do you think just being found on Amazon?
No, I don't. I don't think.
Where are most of your sales coming from, you think, Melisa?
I think what was that?
Where do you think most of your sales are coming from?
Just people that want to read a poetry novel, or they want to read an LGBT novel, or they want to get creative. I think they just do a search on Amazon and just see what comes up.
Yeah.
And just think, oh well, I like that or whatever, and I'll buy it. A lot of the people on Twitter that do the 6-word story or a poem, they're in that book. So I know quite a few of them have bought that one. But Bereft and The Complexities of Love, because they're traditionally published, I've got no idea. Yeah. So I'd say that they're more like just the general public.
It's hard to know where your sales have come from, isn't it? I think I'll sort of be out and about and I'll talk to someone about my book, and then I'll see there's a sale come on. I think, is that from them or is that from somewhere else? Or I don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to know exactly where they're coming from, isn't it?
It's very true. Yeah, but most of mine on the report for Kindle, it was from America. Most of my sales are from America.
Okay, so that's not somebody you've seen at the store then?
No.
Have you looked at advertising? Is that something that you've experimented with?
No, only myself with my tops that I've bought and stuff like that to advertise them on Instagram. Are you on Instagram as well?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm trying to do better on socials. That's why I'm looking at the moment at different scheduling tools to sort of improve myself on there, because I'm sort of so busy with lots of different things to sort of. I haven't got the time to sort of stay on Twitter and that sort of thing, and not if I'm going to get anything else done. So I've got sort of lots of things I'm sort of working with. Yeah. So it sort of tightens up my time. Yes. Who's been your biggest champion for your writing so far?
My husband.
Your husband, yeah. Is he the one going out to work and? I
work as well. We both work. He works. Oh, sorry, that's the dogs going off. We both work. Someone must be at the door or something. we both work, and he works full time. I work part time, but he is really good. Like when I decided to go to university, he was all for it, and that. So he was very good like that. And I decided to write a book, and he said go for it. So he's been very supportive like that. Whereas everyone else has said, don't bother, you won't get published, you'll be self-publishing and it's not worth it, and you'll make no money. And, well, you make no money, but you enjoy what you do.
Well, yeah, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means.
It's not. People think you're going to be loaded, but it's not. I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I enjoy writing. So
yeah, it's a hobby, isn't it? It's a hobby that you get paid for. If if it pays you enough for the time you're spending, that would be very surprising, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
So what's next for you? What are you looking at next?
I'm 70,000 words into another novel at the moment, and I'm also meant to get a children's picture book published, and the traditional publisher said he's not taking on any more people, and they'll let you know in the coming weeks, and everyone else who they've signed with, whether they're going to keep their books or let them go. So I'm still waiting to hear whether they're going to publish my picture book or not, and so that's hanging in the balance. So it depends.
I think it's similar for me. I've got a picture book that's out for review, a children's book.
Whereabouts? Out for review where? Out for review with some agents and publishers, just seeing whether they're taking it up and that sort of thing. I've got no problem self-publishing it if nothing's happening on that. Yeah.
It connects with another book that I've written as well, so it's sort of referring to each other, sort of thing.
Yeah.
People can spend a lot of money, can't they, putting books out there?
They can, but with picture books, the only thing that stopped me self-publishing is the illustrations. I draw, but I don't draw like a picture book. Like I only doodle, if you know what I mean. I'm not an artist per se. Yeah. But it's so expensive to get the illustrations done, and that's what stopped me. So otherwise I would have self-published. I've got about 4 of them that I could self-publish. Yeah. But that's why if you have a traditional publisher, it's cheaper because they put all the money up and they do it all for you. And that's the only reason why I've gone down the traditional route with that.
A lot of publishers have gone hybrid now, haven't they? So they don't deal with the editing and the illustrations.
Yeah, some
make it quite fit, doesn't it?
But they charge exorbitant amounts. That's the thing. So it's still going to cost you more to go down that route rather than get it traditionally published. Because I think someone asked me if I'd pay $7,000, and there's no way I'd pay $7,000.
I've had the same. It was I think it was $5,800 to publish my short story, a children's story. It's just madness, really. Somebody's making some money somewhere, aren't they? It's not the writers, that's the problem.
Yes, that's true.
It's not the authors. Yeah. I think sort of going forward, like for me personally, I've engaged with a young designer. So she's looking at some book covers for me to sort of help build her portfolio.
That's great.
But for the illustrations, there's 2 ways to go. There's one author I've been talking to who's going to be on the show in the next few weeks. Philip Armstrong. He's done children's books, but he's got an illustrated cover, but no illustrations inside.
Oh, okay.
But for a children's book, I think you need the illustrations on the inside, I would think.
Yeah, illustrations. You can have illustrations without words, but you can't do it the other way around, really. You need pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband, I need to do a drawing class.
The other angle, which I think if a traditional publisher is not picking up the book, I could very well go the AI route and have some AI generated images that I can sort of put in there. Of course, the problem with that is if you want a character to show in each picture, that you're not going to get the same character. So it'll just be pictures without the character in. Would that work with you?
I don't think so. Do you need to be on ChatGPT, whatever it is, to do that? Or
There's lots of software. There's lots of software now, AI software.
Yeah.
I'm on Canva.
Mm-hmm.
Canva's quite good, but there's lots of others as well. I'm in the process of searching through and looking at different sites at the minute, and that's some time I've set aside for doing that. I'm due to be on a social media creator course, a 4-week course. I'm starting that in about 4 weeks. In about 3 or 4 weeks, rather. In fact, no, 2 weeks. So I'm hoping from that'll give me some extra skills to be able to do that. And just to keep the costs down, isn't it? I think it's important to keep the costs down.
Yes, the costs are so exorbitant with picture books. It's incredible. Like, I really like watercolours, and I looked on Fiverr, and I think it was 1,000 to 1,600 for a 32 page, because a children's picture book is meant to be 32 pages.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd love to have, the watercolour, but for 1,000 to 1,600 for 32 pages, I thought it's too expensive.
Yeah, if you think you're going to get, if you were confident or reasonably confident you think you'd earn the money back, that would be one thing. But I mean, it's the old term. If you're not careful, it's good money after bad, isn't it?
Yes, very true. Yeah, and I would never spend the $7,000 or even $5,000 to have a picture book published. I reckon that's ridiculous.
Well, I raised the question with them. So the $5,800 were included sort of the book cover, and in fact, it didn't include illustrations. It was just for the publishing side of it. And I said, well, it's only a 700-word book. So they said, we do all the editing. And I said, well, if it was a 70,000-word novel, how much would that be? And they said, it's the same price. So I said, how can it be 5,800 for 70,000 words and also for 700 words?
Yeah,
and they have no answer to that, really. They said the 700 words are even more important. I'm thinking, maybe not. There's just a lot of money being made by people sort of getting people published and different elements, and the editing side of things. It's something that I've battled with in my head. I think professional editing can be very expensive, and I think if you've got the money to do that, then good for you. But if you've got people looking at your work and professional people looking at your work for free, effectively, that's a good way to go to keep your costs down, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Are you in a writing group? I'm in a writing group, so that helps.
I did run a writing group, the Shark Tank, and my first 3 novels all went through the Shark Tank. And that was really good. And it's important to have sort of proofreaders of a very good high level. But with those, I didn't feel that I needed to sort of pay the $600, $700, $800, maybe £1,000 to have them edited professionally.
It's crazy.
So people, and the thing is, you look at some traditionally published books, and there's so many errors in them.
Yes, true.
Like when I say errors, I don't mean sort of spelling errors. It's just sort of dialogue, very poor dialogue that an editor would pick up. And are you familiar with Readsy?
Yes, Readsy.
I like Readsy.
I do too.
And there's some good stuff in there. And they have sort of work classes, online live streams, and they have a live editor looking at some work. And every time I've put mine forward for review, and it never gets picked, maybe because it's too good. Because the ones they pick, the ones they pick are awful. And I think, well, they probably do need an editor.
Yeah.
And it's all very subjective, isn't it? I think
yes, it is.
For the whole story, extra few commas, perhaps, whether they're there or not, it's not going to affect how people read and enjoy the book, I don't think. What do you think?
I don't think so. Yeah, like I've had people say to me, "Oh, there's errors in your book," and I've had other people say that it's a masterpiece. Like, you know, I've had like people technically review it. So, you know, it's what you're looking for when you read it. Are you reading it to pick out errors, or are you reading it for the story, or what are you reading it for? You know, there's everyone.
Just to be clear, I use Pro Writing Aid, and that's sort of professional editing, really, on a sort of AI level, I guess. But quite often on that, it's suggested alternatives. It's like, you might want to consider a comma here rather than sort of this should have a comma. And when I've put it through there, if I've put it through there, I'm happy. When I first started using it, I was changing everything it said, and it's like, now I don't want to do this. So then I was talking to someone else on the show, and it was like, no, it's there as a guide. It's your story. Just
exactly, it's true. So because Grammarly's the same. Grammarly's like that as well.
Grammarly,
And it does people's head in because it wants hyphens everywhere. And I said, it's just a guide to tell you, you know, so.
The thing is, you change it and then it'll suggest it, you change it back. It's like you'll change it and then you run it again. It'll see a suggestion. You might want to change this to, hang on, well, I've just changed it from that. Make your mind up. It's just giving a suggestion, isn't it? I think it's important. I think we've seen sort of on things like the X Factor and that sort of people sort of turn up and start singing and they're awful sort of thing. It's important to get critical reviews before you publish. Not just asking your mom or your sister sort of, is this out? And so getting critical reviews. And I think in writing groups, you need to be careful to make sure that the writing group is giving true critical feedback.
Yes, that's true. There's 11 of us and we give very critical feedback, and we think, well, it's better to, honesty is the best policy. You can't just say that because you know the person that their work's wonderful and you've done such a good job. It's better to be true and say, look, this doesn't work and you need to show more emotion, or why is that happening there and it should be happening down here, or whatever, you know, all those sorts of things, because anyone can be a superstar, like, and you can give them a gold star. But, you know, it's better to say, look, if you want your writing to improve, this is what you need to do. And it's constructive criticism. Like, I helped someone with a synopsis in my writing group the other day, and he hasn't come back to me yet, but, you know, it's constructive, and he knows that I'll tell him the right way to go about it because I've done it before, and he wants to get it published by an agent, use an agent this time to get it traditionally published rather than self-publish. So
I had one lady on, Sonia, and she told me of the shocking story of an agent that had just had a very poor reputation and represented her very poorly. And since ditching the agent, she's actually sort of got published now. So I don't think the agents are the be all and end all. I think, as we say on the writing group, I think what we've got to be careful of and protect against is if you're reviewing someone's work who next week will be reviewing yours. You've got to avoid the tendency to sort of, I don't want to be overcritical because they're going to be on mine next.
Oh, no, we're all like that. Like, there's 11 of us. We finish at 11:30 or midnight. We go after work and we sit around in a circle and we take it in turns from first in, best dressed, so to speak. So, and then we read our 4 pages, which is 2,000 words, and we write on a copy because we all have a copy. And then we decide like what we want to say after we have a minute to write on it. And then we go and talk to that person for 5 minutes, and then we go to the next person, and that's how we do it. So everyone gets a turn, and then we meet every fortnight and we do it all again. And yeah, and some people turn up and some people don't, and some people rewrite what they wrote the week before to see if it sounds better, and some people go forward in their novels with, or poetry or whatever it is, or a short story. And that's it's very individual.
Yeah, I think on the writing group we had, so we've not been active on it for a while. Partly that was because I sort of finished my series and I sort of had to work stuff and that. Yeah. But if I recall, I think it was 5,000 word submission once a month, and we would in week 1 we would read someone's work, or like all of us would read for the week 1, and we'd have a week to review it, and then the following week we'd read somebody else's, and then everybody's read their own sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what you're saying there, I'm wondering whether that would work better, because this was all online, so I didn't know the people that were reviewing.
No, it's better to be face to face and to get to know people, and plus their backgrounds too, because if I've got anything medical in mind, there's a lady who's a retired nurse. We've actually got a psychiatrist in our group, or psychologist, sorry, and he is really, really good because he can tell you like the emotion and stuff like that of the person, and he's still working and he's writing a thesis. So, and there's all different people from all walks of life. Someone works in IT, so if there's anything IT, like a nerdy IT book that you've got a character, he can help. And someone HR, so if you're writing something that's to do with HR, they're all different backgrounds, so it's really, really interesting. And someone worked for the High Commission, and that's they're really knowledgeable people that can help you. So, and then you get to know them.
They're all writers as well.
They're all writing, yeah, because there's a lady writing a memoir, there's another one writing poetry, someone writing a thesis, someone writing another memoir. There's someone that wrote a memoir about life in the country, and someone writing just a fiction novel, another person writing a fiction novel, someone writing a picture book. I've put picture books there, I've put short stories, because Literary Festival's coming up here, so I wrote a short story to enter into that, because the prize money is $1,000.
Oh, that's nice. Melisa, I've realised we've gone way over time already. This has been very, very good, and I think a big takeaway on this is the benefits of writing groups.
Yes, they're invaluable.
For absolutely vital. Final question: what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure. I might say lemon tart.
Lemon tart. Oh no.
With a cup of Earl Grey tea or a cup of coffee with a bit of dollop of whipped cream on top.
I think mine's sticky toffee pudding and custard. I don't know.
Well, sticky date pudding's nice too.
Sticky date pudding as well. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on, Melisa. So we'll leave it there. So we have run out of time, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me.
The Budding Author Podcast. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody.